Good afternoon. It is right on 1 o'clock and we are coming to you live from the Smart Hub. My name is Elize and I'm super excited about today's Hub Live. As you know, we do these Hub Lives to help people in business adopt modern business practice and technology to ensure that we can be more profitable and just have a better time in business in general. And I always have great guests, and today I have an exceptional man with me called Chris Lorang. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Elise, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on the couch.
What an introduction.
Well, not couch, the chairs.
I like how we both got the black memo. I like that,
yeah,
hey?
that is so cool. Now, Chris is here from Sydney, and today's Hub Live is sponsored by the Turbo Traction Lab. So we are so privileged to have Chris, a very seasoned and experienced and accomplished entrepreneur and business person. Tell us a little bit about your background, Chris.
My background is predominantly with international ad agencies, started that way, and then I got into startup and some rather large startups a long time ago. And then I built a digital agency, which I left a while ago, and today I work predominantly with startups. You know, kind of at the strategic layer release.
Nice,
you know?
Nice. Hence why you're part of our Turbo Traction Lab.
Yes.
Yes.
Enjoying it. And what talent.
I know.
Oh my God.
We have some amazing, amazing people. Great success stories out of Turbo Traction Lab 2. And Turbo Traction Lab 3 is looking so promising.
Oh, it's very sexy.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. But we are here to continue to talk about our theme for the month, which is really around time management and goal setting more specifically. So, Chris, what do? Do you actually set goals, or how do you approach the whole goal setting thing?
I suppose as a strategist, goals are naturally part of your life, right? And goals get broken down in a number of different guises. You know, you have personal goals, and you obviously have business goals, and you know, then there's financial goals as well. And so, look, I kind of, for me, I like to set stuff at the beginning of the year.
So when is your perfect goal setting time?
It's in January.
In January.
And
I guess so we're a little bit late.
It's a bit late, but I kind of go, okay, these are the things I'd like to achieve for the year. And I look at that personally, and I kind of look at, you know, myself, my family, those around me, and kind of how will that unpack, you know, and what do I need to do to achieve those things? And then obviously from a business point of view, right?
I like that. Okay, so I want more detail. Take us to where you sit and actually set these goals, because I know that there is a bit of, I don't know, talk around, should you be setting goals? Should you go somewhere? Like, should you go to a retreat? Should you go to a beach? Should you go to your office? Do you light a candle? Like, what is the whole, do you know what I mean? What is the whole goal setting situation look like for you?
Look, I think that time, Christmas, New Year, is a period of reflection, right? You can do a retrospective, you can look back at the year, and my business partner Glenn and I did that. We spent some time, maybe a little bit too much money on decent red wine, and talked about, you know, where we'd gone and what we wanted to achieve, and we set out 3 kind of big strategic buckets of things we wanted to do and to move those forward. And then January, we kind of revisit that and we go, right, how does that unpack? And then personally, I then look at what do I want to achieve out of the year. So usually I'll do that in January, and it's not a formal thing. It's more like, okay, these are the things I thought I should have done last year, but I didn't achieve. So let's revisit those and see how we move those forward. And then what are other things that I would love to happen, and how do I make those happen?
Oh, excellent. Now, do you write your goals down?
Yes, I do. But I'm not the guy that sticks the goal on the mirror. You know, you read all the, you know, the startup guys out of Silicon Valley, and they'll, you know, there's a really interesting thing about the guy that was the first guy that made $1 million, right, in a day. And he used to put the Lamborghini and the Ferrari and on the mirror, and he'd take the magazines to work, and that was his visualization of that goal. I'm not that guy.
Okay. Hey Dimitri, hey Gideon, thank you so much for joining us. We're live with Chris Lorang from Sydney, and he's joined us for the Turbo Traction Lab. So today is sponsored by the Turbo Traction Lab, and we're talking all things goal setting to keep with our theme for the month, which is really around time management and goal setting. Do you know, let me just say, do you know why we have this theme in February? No.
No, but I imagine it's for almost this very reason, isn't it?
It is. It's the right time of year. But interestingly, we did a survey for a lot of for our community at the end of last year and said, what is your biggest challenge in business to take your business to the next level? And do you know what they said?
I have no idea.
Time management.
Time management.
Yeah. How to actually get stuff done.
It's critical, right?
It is, and goal setting is such a critical part of
that's what a SMART goal is.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
What's a SMART goal? Tell us about a SMART goal.
Okay, so a SMART goal is, and I mean, you only have to Google this, right? It's everywhere and it's been around for eons, right? So it's a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic,
with the time frame.
With we say time box, yeah, but time frame, time box. If you don't achieve it in the box, gone. So.
Time box. I like that. I like
Mark
that.
Phillips gave me that, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you go through that little list. You go through the acronym and ensure that your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think as you alluded to, I'm kind of been around for a while. I think you get to a point where you look at that. Because a lot of the work I do is with large corporates, and it's about objectives, which are essentially goals, right? You have to break it down into those factors because otherwise it's loose and it's airy, and how do you put a KPI to something otherwise?
Exactly. So it has to be really measurable.
It does.
So for example, I want to make more money. That's not very measurable.
No. I want to make $100,000 by the end of the year. Okay, we're starting to hone that down, right? And then we start to break that down. What are the steps I'm going to go through to achieve that goal? Okay,
we'll talk about the steps in a minute. So when we're goal setting in business, what are the areas that we should be focusing on, do you think?
So from a startup perspective or a business perspective? Because I think they're different.
Let's do both. So let's start with startup and the definition for startup, high growth company.
Okay.
Right? High growth, so scalable international business market.
Okay, so I mean, I'd kind of look at that. I'd look at strategic goals, I'd look at operational goals and financial goals, probably, and all under the guise, when you're talking about a startup, purpose is super important as well, right? Because purpose actually aligns all those goals. Why am I here? What am I really bringing to the world? And then how do the goals come out of that? Because if it's aligned to your purpose, chances are you're more likely to achieve it.
I kind of like that for human beings too. So why am I here? What am I bringing to the world? And then think about how your goals hang off that.
That's right. How do I achieve what I want to achieve?
Yes.
And what do I want to achieve out of life?
Yes.
Anthony Robbins is a big proponent of this. So he talks about belief systems, right? So he goes, belief systems define performance, which gives you action, which gives you results.
Correct.
And if your belief system is wrong, if your purpose is wrong and you're out of whack, your goals are going to be wrong, you're not going to achieve, and everything's going to be in a state of chaos.
Hey Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you. If you have a question for Chris Lorang, we're talking about goals and goal setting in personal and professionally and in business, of course. If you have any questions about that or anything really about business, Chris is such a accomplished entrepreneur and business person. Just stop it in the comments and we'll do our best to
I'm
answer.
definitely going to get you to write my LinkedIn bio.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford that.
I'm sure I can't.
Okay, so strategic goals in startups. So we've got the why, and then we've got really the three areas. So strategic, operational, and financial.
Yeah, and essentially what you're looking to do is you're creating, it does kind of go back to a SMART goal, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're working with the milestones. What milestones do I hope to achieve by why? So what we'll try and do upstairs, and Daniel's great at, and Tamara's been working very hard, taking these people through these stages, is what do you want to achieve by when? You know, I want to launch by this date. I expect to have my MVP, my minimum viable product, built by this. So what's involved with that? You know, I want to have a beta launch by here. I want my first 100 customers. You know, it's all of those different things that kind of stack up, you know, and there's books written on this.
Absolutely. And I will talk about our favourite goal setting books in a moment. Okay, so once you have set those goals, then you alluded to breaking that down. What kind of time frames do you use to break things down? Quarterly, or what do you just ask, what is that? So overall, if I have a goal, like what's the next thing?
I look, I kind of, I'm an agile guy, not agile, but I look at how does that almost break down into stories, right?
Oh,
what are you going to do to make that story come to life? And so,
I like that idea.
yeah, and it kind of gives it personality and people are more involved. And so when you start to look at team management, you know, what's the story? And, you know, there's a whole agile philosophy and that's for another day. But, you know, what are we going to achieve this week, this month? You know, so we work usually in 10-day cycles. You know, what are we going to achieve in 10 days? What's that sprint to achieve that goal? And then start all over again.
So if the word agile is not familiar, just Google it. It's a development.
Yeah, so there's two business philosophies for developing business and products, and one's agile, which is a multifaceted team, and the other one's waterfall. But as Elize said, story.
Yeah. Google.
Google.
Or YouTube. YouTube's just as good.
Yes.
Probably, maybe even better, probably, for this kind of thing. Okay, so that's how you set goals for a startup. Let's talk about a more traditional business. So a small business or a local, like in our region, how would we set goals?
Yeah, look, I think it's, you know, you're still talking about SMART goals, but I think in that framework, you kind of go to Jim Collins, right? You go to good to great. You go, how do I rise above? What do I do that makes me different and stand out? So we, you know, that's a BHAG. You know, you and I have talked about this and we know what it is. It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And that maybe you can benchmark that at a competitor and you can say, okay, we want to be like IKEA by the end of the year, or, you know, the world's best butcher or whatever. You can benchmark it against transformation within the business. So we want to be able to have our processes doing in this specific way, or it can be financial. You know, we want to make this amount of money by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think I had Katie with me last week and we spoke about setting a revenue and profit goals. And I think when you're in business, you really can't get away with not setting those. You have to set revenue and profit goals as well as these other goals that you just mentioned. Yeah, that's really great. Okay, so let's jump from anything else goal setting related that you can share with us.
No, not really. But obviously goals, when you start at an organisation, it's got to filter down, right? So you obviously going to have, and I think this is really important that founders set personal goals, because one of the major reasons that startups fail is mental health, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have personal goals and you don't understand what's going on and the journey that you're on, then you create these risk factors that ultimately you're going to have to manage at another day. You're putting off your problems for another day. Yeah. So if you kind of start and go, right, my goal is to, you know, run around the block or do 30 minutes a day or be fit or meditate once a week or whatever, and you start to set those goals, then, you know, you're fit enough, strong enough, and you're going to have enough grit to go the journey.
I love that. I'll share a little personal story. So I think it's really important to set goals that are super achievable in your personal life. Maybe a little bit stretching, but super achievable, so that you can get in the habit of setting a goal and achieving a goal, even if it's a short-ish term goal. So in a couple of years ago, I set the goal of being able to do push-ups, because I've never ever been able to do push-ups.
So good.
It took me 2 years Before, I was able to do 10 push-ups. And now I'm really strong in my, well, not really, I'm not really strong. I'm stronger in my upper body and I can do my push-ups. And the goal that I set for this year is to do 1 pull-up on the bar. 1 pull-up. If I can do 1 pull-up, then I can go to 3 and so forth and so forth. So what I'm doing now is I'm just hanging on the bar and just supporting my own body weight.
Oh, that's good.
But it's something that's stretching for me. It's something I can work on every day, but it's something that I know I will achieve. So it just builds that understanding within yourself that you can get involved. You can say, I'm going to do this thing, and make yourself achieve that thing.
There's a really great book, actually, and I think it's called, but we can share it later, it's called Make Your Bed in the Morning, or it's something like that. Do you know this book? It's written by the ex-admiral and the guy that ran the Navy SEALs in the US.
Yes, correct.
And his goal, he says to everyone, is make your bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Because once you make your bed, you've achieved 1 goal.
It's your first task of the day.
Everything's easy after that, you know. And I just love that philosophy that, you know, we bought that book and we gave it to one of our kids.
Oh,
and we went, right, here we go. Of course so.
Is it working?
Well, I'm not even sure it's read, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic philosophy.
It is, I agree, absolutely. Okay, so before we move on to time management, let's maybe share a few books that we love. So Make Your Bed in the Morning is one. Do you have any other goal-setting books that you really love? We mentioned Good to Great.
Oh, I think Good to
Jim
Great's
Collins.
fantastic. And 0 to 1 by, I think it's Peter Thiel. You know, there's a whole number of different startup books that I would encourage everybody to read.
Yeah.
Do you know, you know, I think the other one is Employee to Entrepreneur, and it's not really about goal setting, but it shows you what you need to do to change that mindset.
Yeah.
You know, it's an Australian book.
Yeah, it's excellent. We'll post some of those books in the comments. I'd like to add one. If you are into manifesting things, there's a book called Manifesting Matisse, and it breaks down the process. It's a really
I'll write that down.
Yeah, it's a really, 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 really great book that takes you through 10 steps of how to manifest stuff in your life. And it includes setting goals. It includes, you know, having a vision, a visual for your goal. It includes getting rid of all the emotional blocks that might be preventing you from achieving that goal. Really great book. Cool.
Fantastic.
So, next topic, time management.
Oh.
Thank
God my partner's not here.
Why is that?
I'd be so much trouble.
Oh, why is that?
I'm always distracted. Do you know? I mean, that's the nature of an entrepreneur, right, I suppose.
I have the same problem.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Yes. But time management is critical. It's critical.
Let's just talk about distraction for a minute, because I think it's a topic that most people never admit to or try and avoid. So I think, and how does it relate to time management? So a couple of weeks ago we had Matthew Doyle, and we defined time management as self-management, the ability to manage yourself in the use of time.
That's right.
Yeah. If you are always distracted, what is the problem with that?
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because you never... Well, okay, there's 2 schools of thought. So one school of thought is time equals value.
Okay, what does that
right?
mean?
If we're going to get philosophical, so time equals value. So the more time I apply to a task, right, the more value that comes out of it. And then the other school of thought is basically that experience and input equals value. So I kind of really haven't answered your question. But I think if you allot a period of time to a task, then you need to stick to that task. You need to stick to that time, right? Like I say my time management is poor, but I think that's more on the domestic front than the business front.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
In business, I'm a real believer, you're not late for meetings. You know, you're there, you're present, you listen.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the moment and you add value.
Correct.
Right? And that's time management. If you're constantly running from one thing to another, and it's funny, I was talking to an entrepreneur last week and he goes, oh, don't worry, you know, I'm always 15 minutes late for everything. And that doesn't bode well. Do you know, you kind of go, is this guy investable? What's this, you know, what's this going to lead to?
Yeah.
You know, so I think in business it's super important, and you can be, if you don't feel that you need that allotted time. Simon Reynolds, the great Simon Reynolds, he talked about the fact that things should be, you can achieve tasks in 20 minutes. We just give them an hour.
I think there are layers to our conversation. First, when we say, hey, Derek, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so pleased that you're enjoying this. So are we. We're having a great time.
Oh, we are. We should do this more often.
Absolutely. And then, hey, Peter, thank you so much for joining us. I'm talking to Chris Lorang about, we just spoke about goal setting. So if you're interested in goal setting, go back and watch the live after. And now we're talking about time management, which is a super, super, super big topic. And I know something that most people in business seem to find really challenging. And I don't think it's because we are necessarily poor at getting stuff done. I think we just have so much that we want to do.
Yeah, and what I was talking about there is it's quite a tactical view on time management. So what I see a lot in startups is startups living to be startups. So that's a time management issue, right? Because you're not determining what are your goals, what value do they bring to the business, how do I track them, how do I measure them, and how do I move them forward? So if you just kind of going, okay, I'm going to solve this task, we can go back to that SMART thing and we can go, is it really adding value?
Right? Is that even the right thing to be doing?
Is it the right thing to be doing, Because people love the startup life, right? They love the whole, oh my God, I've been building this business for 3.5 years. And then the question has to be asked, why? So that's a time management thing.
Absolutely, that is exactly right. And I think the sad truth is that our lives have a limited amount of time. Your life is time. And every day that passes is little bit less of the life.
Stop it.
So you've got to do the right thing with the life that you have.
That's true.
Don't get distracted and just do anything.
You only get one chance.
Exactly. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, isn't it great to hear from Chris? He is an amazing entrepreneur and coach. Yes, I can vouch for that.
Paul.
I agree, Paul. You are correct.
The check's in the mail.
Hey, Paul. Hop on and ask a challenging question. Let's see if we can get a good answer from, not that face, like, Elize, what are you doing?
No, that was not that face. It was like, okay.
Ask a question. Ask a question about goal setting, time management, or anything.
So let me throw it back to you, though. How do you set your goals? Because you're super organised. You're a very together woman. How do you do it?
I think very similarly to what we just discussed. So what I do is I have an overall kind of purpose for my life that I believe I'm here to help people and make a difference. So I want to contribute, really.
Right.
So that's kind of the leading direction, I suppose, that I take for my life.
That.
And then I set a theme for the year, and I do a review of all the different aspects of my life. So I look at my wealth, my health, my career, my business, my relationships with my family, my kids, my friends, and so forth. And I'll do a little bit of a scorecard for myself. So I'll say, I got a 3 out of 10 for, giving time to...
Are you Six Sigmaing your life, are you?
Yeah, pretty much. I do love that. I do like to take everything and make it the simplest process possible and just do the process.
That's great.
Run the process. And then I just set goals for where I want to be in 12 months. We do the same with our team. At the end of last year, the Smart Hub team got together. We had a little review of how we went last year. And in fact, we said last year our word was efficient. And my whole theme was doing better, but doing less. And we failed at doing that.
Right.
We did. And we all acknowledged that we had failed. We did
more.
Oh, we did do better, but we did also do more, which was not ideal. And so we just set goals, and I ensure that they're very specific. And then I prioritize those goals, and I pick the 3 that are the most important. And then I run through a process every morning where I write down my priorities and I write down what I'm grateful for.
So you are good. You are good.
You're
a model student.
What has to be done every day.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
Well, it's a really simple process, really easy to follow. Anyone can do it. It's really easy. Okay, so back to time management. You mentioned blocks of time and you mentioned value. So either giving more time to something equals more value, or bringing better experience and expertise to something equals more value?
I think it's a combination of both. There are things that you innately understand and can improve. And then there are things that really probably deserve more time than we give them. Do you know? How do you really... Because it's funny, people talk about strategy, which is kind of goal setting, right? That's what it's all about. But not a lot of people invest time. Even businesses really invest time. Strategy often just becomes execution. You know, it's the hand-to-mouth existence. You know, operationally, let's just sell some stuff over here to pay for some stuff over here. But
it's very reactive as opposed to being proactive.
Yeah, so that's, you kind of got to look at that strategic layer and go, right, how do I compete for the future? In the future, you know, what's happening in the world? What are the goals that I need to set to enable that to happen? And it all just kind of flows out from there.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you keep bringing it back to, let's have a look at, you know, our environment and the world, which is now our environment. Our environment's no longer just like local, it's global. So let's look globally at what's going on. Let's look at our competitors. Let's put some strategic goals and benchmark ourselves, essentially. And then design what to do based on what we've decided. Not just, we have a bill, what are we going to do about
That's
that?
right. That's right. That's right. It's like anything, right? You know, proper preparation is, you know...
It's the way to go.
Stops. I won't go down that path anymore.
Performance.
Do you...
Yes, it's the question from Paul. Do you use booking schedules to manage your time?
I do. I'm a big believer in Monday. I don't know if... I love actually, Monday.
Yeah.
Super simple. You know.
How does it work? So it's an app.
It's an app. It's both a mobile and desktop app, and I just put in what I need to achieve in a kind of a more strategic sense, and then I see what ladders out of that, because I have a business partner who's super creative, really intelligent, but you know, sometimes I do have to kind of move him around a little bit, you know. For that reason, this helps us do that.
So you both work in Monday, so you can...
Yeah, we both work in... Well, I work in Monday, which then populates his calendar and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But there's a number of different things. Because we're involved in lots of businesses, we get sucked into different tools. Do you know?
And how do you find that when you're sucked into...
It can be challenging.
Different scheduling tools?
It can be challenging because, you know, synchronized calendars. Who ever thought that'd be a thing, right? But, you know, I suppose Google Smart Suite has kind of balanced that out a little bit, but yes, it can be challenging.
So yes, he does a booking schedule. So is your favourite app Monday?
Yeah, pretty much. In this space, I would say, I know I've tried a few because when you run an agency as well, right? So you have to do your strategic goals, and then you've got teams, and, you know, and I've tried everything. You know, I've tried the Atlassian stuff and that sort of stuff, and I've kind of come back to this because this is right for us at this particular point in time.
Nice.
Do you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent. Okay, time management. Blocks of time. Do you schedule specific blocks of time to do focused work?
Oh, yes. So I could show you my calendar now, and and I'll even schedule in thinking time and, you know, time to think before a call. You know, if I'm going to have a difficult conversation or a sales conversation, I'll plan that. You know, so it's all about that.
Oh, now I'm so tempted to go off topic.
Go on, let's go.
I'm going to go to sales, one of my favourite topics. Okay, how do you plan a sales conversation?
How do you plan a sales conversation? So, personally, I mind map it.
You do?
Yeah, so I'll go...
So
I literally will draw it out.
Yeah.
And I did that in Turbo Lab 1, actually, which was really interesting. I sat down with the guys and I went, right, who are we talking to? What are they interested in? What are their need states? What do we know about them? Where are they in their life stage? How are we going to add value to that as a product? When is the right time to talk to them? you know, that's, you start to build a persona and then you kind of map out, you know. But it's all about that. It's all about planning and time management. And then, of course, you've got sales goals. What do I hope to achieve out of this call or this engagement or this lunch or, you know?
So you just rattled off a number of questions, which I think, if I were
See,
you
we could be
watching
here all
this
day.
live, watching this live, what you should do if you do any sales, please go back and watch this video and actually write those questions down and have a go at using Chris's process. So ask all of those questions as well as the one that you mentioned last, which is what is it that I want to achieve out of this call? And when you get into a call, and this kind of links to time management, because spending a heap of time but not achieving a result, even if you run the process perfectly, you've got to question that, right? You've got to, did it excellent, I did everything right, but I actually didn't achieve what I set out to achieve. Well, you did achieve something, you learned what not to
that's
do.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But so good preparation helps you get to the result that you want, and maybe even quicker.
Yeah, so fail fast, you know, start again, all that sort of stuff.
Chris, this is so much fun. Just before we say goodbye, any final words of wisdom from you? Any books? Let's just quickly ask the book question. Any books for time management?
There's not any that come to mind. I mean, I would, it's not a topic, I suppose, that I go and seek. Maybe I should. There's plenty of great books that address this in a roundabout way, and it really depends on where you are in your business journey and your personal journey, right? Because there's plenty of books about well-being and personal health. I mean, Jamie Pride has written a book called Unicorn Tears, which is about the well-being of founders and his personal experience. And funnily enough, I was reading that last time I was here. There's other things called, you know, The Messy Middle, and there's so many great books in this thing. There's one I'm reading at the moment, which is Recasting Strategy, which is about different ways to set goals. Actually, that probably would be relevant. And the different ways to look at the world. Oh,
recasting strategy.
So it's basically about defining scenarios and then figuring out how does that actually set up your view, right? So you go, if the world goes that way, you go that way. It's a big corporate book. It's kind of the stuff we use in hardcore consulting, but it's getting people to change their mindset a little bit. You know?
Oh, that sounds like an awesome book. In terms of time management, I'll add a really simple one, which is Eat That Frog. I think it's Brian Tracy.
Yes.
Really simple. Do the hardest thing first thing in the morning.
Yes.
And apply the 80-20 rule. That's the gist of it all.
Yes. Do the things you hate.
The whole task list and only do the 20% that'll create 80% of the results.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because we all have a strict limit. There is actually a strict limit to what you can do in a day.
That's right.
So focus on the things that really matter. And usually they are the things that we don't want to do.
That's right. And if you get them away early, then you're better off.
Absolutely.
You know?
Mr. Chris Lorang, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elize.
This has been really fun. Anything else you'd like to share? Or
no, I think it must be lunchtime.
It is lunchtime.
It must be lunchtime. In fact, I'm meant to meet someone for lunch today.
Oh, well.
I totally forgot about that.
Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so
Poor
much.
time management.
That's scheduling. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday with another very, very interesting guest at 1 o'clock. Put a little reminder in your schedule and join us on our HubLive. Hope you have a great week. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.